that story?
Well, yes, I'm old enough to have thought about most of these issues and even to have written on them. And I did actually write something about that once in a little book that I wrote called Believer Christian Catholic, and it was kind of a book of apologetics in a way, I suppose. That was written in the mid-80s. Why believe in God? Why be a Christian? If you're going to be a Christian, why be a Catholic? So the question of believing in God arises as the most basic question, of course, of religion. And then a further question, can you prove the existence of God? Well, it all depends, I think, what you mean by prove in this instance. I think if it means constructing a proof that any trained person in philosophy would have to accept as valid, I don't think there is such a proof. I can't help noticing that the people who think you can prove God's existence are always, without exception, people who believe in God. And of course there are some people who believe in God who think that his existence can't be proved. Well, perhaps I'm in that category. I do believe in God. I think you can make a case for showing that, a strong case, a good philosophical case, for showing that belief in God is warranted, that it's not a foolish kind of commitment to make, and even that it is one that you should make in conscience. These are things I think that are things that can be shown. I think the kind of the metaphysical principle, and just to even mention that word, of course, means that you're called upon to defend the idea of metaphysics in a world that largely rejects metaphysics. But I think the metaphysical element that's involved is, I'd put it this way, that it's almost like a metaphysical faith. Let me just explain that. I mean that you either think that the things that you see around you in the world and the world itself requires an ultimate explanation, and if you believe that, then you're quite likely to be convinced by a proof for God's existence, which depends on causality and things like this. But there are quite a lot of people who don't have that kind of metaphysical faith, as I would call it, who don't see any problem about a world that can't be explained. Well, if you can't get past that, I think you're wasting your time with the proof for the existence of God. But I think you can prove it quite nicely to people who already believe it.